This is horrible. A young lady by the name of Endurance has been found brutally murdered in a hotel in Lagos State after it was said she lodged in with 3 men. This is possibly a threesome or a foursome gone wrong. Should I say an orgy gone wrong? Because how does a young woman go into a hotel room and see 3 hefty men and somehow feels comfortable to stay long enough for whatever happened to happen? Although some sources are claiming that she knew one of the men there, which was Amos Daniel, presumably to be her boyfriend, and that he was the one who brought her there to be with him, and that the other people were supposed to be his friends. So in her head, she could have been thinking, oh, I'm with my boyfriend Daniel and these other guys are his friends. And if that is the case, it doesn't necessarily change the trajectory of the story, because the other narrative is she was just a random girl brought in by Amos Daniel to come service the rest of the guys. Basically, they are claiming she was brought in there to sleep with all 3 of the men for money. But unfortunately for her, these 3 men, including the man she knew, Amos Daniel, had other plans with her body. I mean, she may have thought they wanted to use her body to please themselves. However, little did she know that they also wanted to use her body to make themselves rich. Now, this was said to have happened around the 17th of July 2025, around Ayobo Ipaja in Lagos State, where they said Amos Daniel booked the hotel and 2 of his male friends were already in the hotel room when upon Endurance came to join them. And I think this is where it made us believe that there's a chance that she was a call girl, because she didn't come with Amos directly. However, it was obvious that Amos Daniel was the one who invited her over. Amos had booked the hotel room around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and around 5 p.m. he had come in with his friends, the other 2 guys. Then somewhere around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. that was when Endurance joined them. So you're seeing the timeline of how these arrangements evolved. Then around 8 p.m. when it was already dark, these men decided to strike. It's unclear if they eventually did have sex with her. We don't know that, but given how her body was found, almost nude, it is believable that probably something sexual was already going on or had already gone on. But around that 8 p.m., the manager of the hotel was trying to on the generator of that hotel. And I think the noise of the generator was what these killers were banking on to strike at Endurance, so that if she screams, yells, it will blend with the noise coming with the hotel generator. And the timing was perfect. It was obvious that these people have probably done this before to know the time that these hotel people will turn on their generator that was very loud. And so when the manager was turning on the gen and trying to see how the gen is progressing, he was hearing a faint cry. He was hearing a faint scream. He was hearing someone yelling and screaming. But the generator noise wasn't making him hear it as clear as he should have. And they were successful with this. All 3 men pounced on Endurance, stabbing her multiple times, and it was said Endurance most likely fought back, made a lot of noise, yelled and shouted at the top of her lungs, but she knew for a fact that with the sound of the generator, her chances of being saved would be slim. Eventually, the manager comes out of the generator side and started asking around if he was the only one hearing the noise. Luckily for him, the next room close to the room Amos had lodged in with the boys and where they were killing Endurance, the person in that other room heard the same cry. The person heard the noise, and in that moment, everybody in the hotel were like, okay, somebody is crying, somebody is yelling, somebody is shouting from our hotel, and we need to find who that person is. And that was when they started looking for where the scream was coming from. And that was when the next door lodge to Amos's hotel room told the manager that it was coming from the next room where Amos was. They tried to break into the room, but it was locked. Eventually, they used the spare key. The security men in the hotel used the spare key and opened the door, where they saw Endurance on the floor in her pool of blood. The young lady had been successfully murdered with multiple stab injuries, and it was so fresh that they knew that the killers had not left the hotel room. And that was when the hotel people quickly started looking for where these people would have run to. They searched and then put an eye out, and eventually they saw Amos trying to jump the fence, trying to run away, trying to escape, and he was held back and arrested by the hotel managers. Amos was beaten to the point where he had to confess to the hotel people that yes, he was the one who invited the girl, he was the one who tried to kill the girl with his friends, and that, you know, they were trying to use her for rituals. The security team of the hotel held him till the police came, where he was handed over to the Lagos State Police. Endurance body was eventually taken to the mainland General Hospital in Yaba, while the Amos was taken to the station. His house was eventually searched into. The police had to go to his house to search it, where they saw a lot of things that indicated that this Amos Daniel guy is a demon. He had so many weapons in his house. They found an axe, a machete, a jackknife, multiple laptops that suggest that he may have robbed a lot of people or killed a lot of people and taken their laptops. They also saw military boots in his house. They saw a local sponge and what looks like one of those Yahoo Yahoo boys soap. And it was said that they saw a giant pair of scissors. Eventually, word started going around that Amos Daniel is a notorious cultist. People already know him around his neighborhood, that he is a deadly, notorious person that people are afraid of. And it made sense, because for someone like that, it's not far-fetched for him to want to kill a girl in a hotel room. As at the time of making this video, the police are still looking for his friends, the other two accomplices that may have helped him. Luckily for them, they were able to escape before the hotel people figured out where the noise were coming from. It is possible that their only job was to help kill Endurance, which in my head, I don't think Amos needed help to kill Endurance. It could have been one of those sacrificial things when all of them needed to participate, because that is what the native doctor may have told them, depending on who they went to meet. But that is unclear, and we are hoping that the Amos guy would eventually spill out on the details of the people who assisted him, because now that the main person, he is the actual main person, and luckily for him, or should I say unluckily for him, he was caught. So finding the rest would not be difficult, and if anything, he is probably the one that they need the most. Now, what we don't know is if he has identified his relationship to Endurance, if at all Endurance was his girlfriend, and from what I believe, not much is said about Endurance. We don't even know her surname, but people say she's from Akwa Ibom State. And we are yet to confirm whether or not Endurance was Amos's girlfriend, or whether or not she was just a girl brought in for that time. But this is my theory. For a girl to come into a hotel room and see two other men, come on. Especially people she doesn't know. It's alarming. You're coming to a hotel room, even if you're coming with your boyfriend, to see two other guys there, and if Amos was his boyfriend, she should have known that he was a deadly cultist. It could be that they just knew each other for a while. You know, these days we've seen something that is consistent. They don't exactly bring random girls. They bring girls that they will build a relationship with. So let's say somebody they've met a week or a month before, you know, to sway into their life, to get them to trust them, to come to a hotel in such manner. Because a random hookup girl will not do that, unless of course she has been promised a huge sum of money, and that is also a possibility. But these days we see that when it comes to the case of ritual, these men will build the relationship with the young ladies for a week or two or three and then strike. And I think this could have been the case with Endurance. It's just unfortunate. These are kind of stories that make us want to tell that more women need to be careful, more women need to be at alert, more women need to get their instincts right, because just because you've been with him for a few days, 3 days, these days it's not strangers that are killing. It's people that you're familiar with that are doing the killing. And it's alarming and it's fearful and shocking. Well, let's just see how this story develops. We're just so glad that the killers were found. And thank God she raised alarm. If not, they would have easily done this and gotten away with it, which I feel like they may have done this, have gotten away with it a few times. So, wow. Let me know your thoughts, guys. A young man on TikTok by the name of Femi Mexico has been shot dead by what people believe is a Yahoo Yahoo deal gone wrong. Now, this story is currently spiraling on social media, especially on TikTok, where the young man who goes by the name of Femi Mexico or Mexico King was said to have been invited by a group of Yahoo boys whom he was supposed to collect money for around the 18th of July 2025 in Agbo of Delta State, although some people are saying it happened in Edo State in Benin City. It's unclear where this may have happened. However, Femi was called by people he owed money, and he
pretty much went there himself alone to defend the reason why he had not given them the money. And in that process, somewhere along the line, either on his way back or while he was there, he was shot and robbed of his gold necklace. Before his friends and people around could take him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. But here is the thing, the versions of the story surrounding the death of Femi Mexico is still sketchy, as many people have different narratives. So many people have come up with how he died. Some people are saying it had nothing to do with being an Azaman. And Azaman is a term used for people in the internet fraudster world to describe somebody who collects money. It's like a middleman between a Yahoo boy and the client. So most people are saying that whereas this could be a case of Azadil gone wrong, where he was supposed to collect money for somebody but failed to deliver the money, or failed to collect the money, or failed to give the money to the owner, some people are claiming that this was him just being targeted by armed robbers who just tried to snatch his necklace and steal from him, and in the process shot him. Some people are of the narrative that this is an armed robbery gone wrong and has nothing to do with him being a Yahoo boy or an Azaman. Because if he had gone to meet Yahoo boys to explain why he could not get money or send money or deliver money, he would have probably been killed in a house and not on the streets. There's still the narrative that they opened fire on him along the way, because this kind of things is not far-fetched. At the same time, two things can be true at once. Two things can be true in the same sentence. It is possible that he had pending financial dealings with people that involved either 500,000 naira or 7 million naira, as some sources claim, and within this dispute, he got robbed by people who targeted him, because he actually does live a flashy life. He's a young boy who has built a house in his name, bought luxurious cars, and seemed to show off his flashy lifestyle on his social media. So that alone makes him an easy target. So even if he wasn't a Yahoo boy or an Azaman, as long as you're showing lifestyle, necklaces, gold, money on your social media, it makes you a target. One of the narratives that somebody claimed may have happened was that he had gone to a restaurant with one of his girlfriends, and when a vehicle pulled over and they attempted to rob him of his jewelries, he was wearing an obviously gold necklace, a gold chain, and in that process he was shot. So at the time of making this video, it has not been clear what exactly killed this young man. Was it fellow Yahoo boys who were angry that he stole money from them, or was this just armed robbers targeting him for his flashy lifestyle? But looking at what we have, if we have to work with what we have, if we have to analyze by what is going around and what is being said, this may be either or. From comments and people close to this story, they have indicated that even if Femi did owe money, because as a man, he collects the money and then gives it to the Yahoo boy. However, there are cases where he may not also receive the money. There are cases where the money may be locked in the bank. There are cases where the people who is being frauded would figure it out on time and seize the money from moving. And half the time, he has to be the one to explain as the middleman to the people expecting the money that, hey, see, what's up? The money I'm supposed to get for you, I actually couldn't get it from the bank because the bank froze the account, seized the money, and sent it back. And if I'm correct, it's up to him to provide evidence that he hadn't received the money, because the Yahoo boys would not believe him. There have been stories and history of middlemen or as a man collecting money from the clients and lying about not receiving it, and then moving on to buy cars, build houses. And these things could easily piss off the Yahoo boys who believe that, wait, you actually received the money and you didn't give it back, give it to us. I mean, currently the movie To Kill a Monkey is trending, and this has the same theme in it, where somebody is expected a cut from a deal. Like, it's a cultist business for what is worth, especially if you're dealing with cultists who are involved in Yahoo. So people believe that the story going around that Femi Mexico owes people money is not a lie per se. However, there is an explanation, and he himself, the Femi Mexico guy, had provided the explanation to the Yahoo boys. It's unclear when or where or what period this happened, but this could also be around the period of him being killed. So he has already explained to them. He had even driven himself. He had gone to meet these people alone by himself to show them proof that the money that he was supposed to collect for them, he couldn't because the bank froze it and held it hostage. And in that note, he has defended himself. However, some people claim that he kept the money himself because the person he was supposed to give the money died. I'm not sure if maybe this could be a Yahoo Yahoo term that I'm not familiar with, but I saw a comment where they were like, oh, the person he was supposed to give the money to died, so he could not give the person the money, so he kept it for himself until another group of people came to claim the money, and that is where at this time he had already spent it. So they gave him a period of time to pay up, but he couldn't meet up, and that's why he was shot. That's the thing with complicated stories like this. When you get involved in a messy lifestyle, it's hard to pinpoint what killed you. It's hard to pinpoint which, like now, what narrative do we go with? What exactly, what story are we going to use? Which one is the correct one? Which one is the actual incident? Even at the time of making this video, he has even been buried. So it's hard because everybody has something to say. And like I've already said, two things can be true at the same time. But from the video circulating, he was clearly shot outdoor. He was shot outside. He wasn't killed inside. Typical Yahoo boys would, target you, kidnap you, rob you properly, not just your gold. They'll clear your entire account balance, especially if you're owing money. So I don't think this is a Yahoo boy kill a Yahoo boy situation, because if that is the case, they would have done it in a way where he would be in a position to transfer all his money. They'll steal his car, steal his phone, steal more things other than his necklace to make up for the money he owes, and then eventually kill him. That has been the way we've seen it play out in terms of Yahoo Yahoo deal gone wrong. Unless it's a very extreme case, like the one we saw in Warri, where the lady was shot at her gate at her house. And, she was a powerful one too. I guess that could have been one of those reasons. But the Femi Mexico guy appears to be a very simple boy who doesn't move around with bodyguards. So he was pretty much accessible. And that is why it's looking more like he was robbed and in the process got shot, than the killers probably shot him only one time. So it does not look like they meant to even kill him. They just meant to make him not fight back. And then he died in the process. So if I'm to say anything, this appears to be more like a robbery gone wrong. It could also be from people who he owes money, or people who are aware that he has money, which could be a lot of people because he shares his flashy lifestyle on social media. And I think this goes to show that to a lot of people in that lifestyle, it's a dangerous lifestyle as it is. You are dealing with the law, you're dealing with TFCC, you're dealing with Interpol, and then you're also dealing with your immediate community of people who are jealous of you, who are in the same field as you, who want what you have, who, will throw you under the bus, who will rob you, steal from you, or kill you in the process just because they want to take what you have acquired from the thievery lifestyle. And when you are now flashy, showing money, showing wealth online, rubbing it in people's faces, it doesn't make it easy and makes you an easy target, basically. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Justice at last. Do you guys remember the group of teenagers from Ogun State that killed a young girl by the name of Sophiat and beheaded her, put her head in a calabash, gave someone to cook in order to prepare a charm that would make them rich? This was something they saw on Facebook. They saw a money ritual advert on Facebook and followed through with it in reality, using one of their own girlfriend by luring her over to her boyfriend's house, where they told her that, not to tell her parents where she was going. And she came, the 17-year-old girl by the name of Sophiat, left her home, told her parents she was coming, went to see her boyfriend, Soludin, who was at the time equally 18 years old. This happened in Abeokuta, there, where they said when the girl went to finally meet her boyfriend in the house, they had sex, and after the sex, he turned into a monster that she could not have imagined. And prior to this killing, he had already planned with his friends to find a girl to use for ritual. So he and his friends, they had seen this Facebook advert about how to do money ritual with someone you like, and they decided to talk among themselves how they were going to go through with it, when they suggested to Suledin that you are the one here with a girlfriend, so let's use your girlfriend. And that was how they were able to plan ahead of time to lure Sophia over. It was such a gruesome story back then. We covered it after they finished using Sophia's head for what they were trying to do. In the process, neighbors caught them. The young girl was identified to be 17-year-old Sophia. Well, the case went on to court. If you remember, these young people were taken to court, and for the last 3 years, it's been in court. And eventually, just a few days ago, in July of 2025, they were found guilty and they were handed their sentence. 3 of the guys were sentenced to death, while the other 2, I believe, was sentenced to life in prison. These are young people who had their whole life ahead of them, and it was destroyed by a misleading money ritual advertisement they saw on Facebook. One of the guys, I think the court was probably able to determine that only 3 of them took part in the initial killing of the young girl and beheading. I think the other ones to go live were probably just people who were aware of it and may have planned it. I may have one of them probably been the one to cook it. I'm not particularly sure the rule, but according to their roles, that was how they were charged and sentenced. Hopefully this story is a reminder to young guys out there that money ritual doesn't pay. Money ritual doesn't pay. It doesn't work. Killing a young man or a young woman, or killing somebody with the hopes of being rich from it, is not something that is plausible. And if you have a whole life ahead of you, you are throwing it away by partaking in money rituals. These are young boys who had a whole future, a whole possibility of how their life could have turned out differently if they had made a better choice. We can sit here today and blame it on the post they saw on Facebook. However, they made a choice, because they're not the only ones who saw that post. So not everybody who saw the post took action on it. And hopefully such posts don't no longer exist, but I don't think so, because I still see those kind of advertisements. Money rituals and native doctors and these clerics are still doing their thing. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And let's hope more people remember the story and more young people put in mind that it doesn't pay. And that's just the point.
Hi guys, grab your popcorn, sit down, and let's quickly talk about the case of the famous shoemaker whose side hustle was kidnapping and serial killing. 52-year-old Anthony Ndubisi is said to be a native of Ngobala in Imo State local government area of Nigeria. However, it is said he resides and carries on business in Umwebulewan community of Ichie local government area in Rivers State, Port Harcourt. The story is as far back as 2020, however, it's a story for each and every one of us to listen and learn from. Anthony was said to have been married with 4 kids. However, the business wasn't really going well for him. He felt like what he was getting from the business was too small to feed himself and his family. So he decided to involve kidnapping, ritual, and killing to the business. This whole Anthony's kidnapping and killing started February 2020. According to Anthony, when he started the shoe business, he wasn't making profits, he wasn't making money as he expected. Probably he was thinking it's something that was going to give him a lot of money. But along the line, he wasn't seeing the money he was expecting, so he decided to add kidnapping and killing to his business. It wasn't clear how long he did the shoemaking business before he started kidnapping. According to Anthony, he would invite his victims in a form of business transaction. He will call you and tell you he wants to buy shoes in bulk. When you supply to him, he will invite you over to his house in Port Harcourt to come and collect the money. And by the time you come to recover your money, Anthony will take you inside his house, welcome you properly as a guest. He will drug you. He will give you a drink laced. Then he will serve you food. While they are eating comfortably, Anthony will go behind them, strangle them from the back, and drag them to a small pit inside his compound, then discard the body inside the pit. After he does that, he will withdraw the money in their account. It's not clear if he used their ATM or he did transfer, because I don't know how he has been doing this thing and nobody found out. He will withdraw everything, and that is how nobody will hear about you. It is said that from that February till the time they apprehended Anthony, he had already killed 3 of his Togolese business partners, all in the name of come and collect your money. Before you wonder why his wife didn't say anything or why people didn't find out, neighbors, it was said at Anthony's house, the fence was almost times 3 of a normal fence, or should I say times 4 of a normal fence. His fence was so high that nobody from outside could even suspect what was going on inside. And then for his wife not saying anything, probably his wife could not endure the level of poverty. It was said the wife left him. 2 of his children, whom are already adults, decided to leave, to go on their own, to start life. It was just Anthony and 2 of his younger sons. Now, the most shocking thing about this whole incident is that Anthony's 2 small boys, Anthony's 2 younger sons, were all seeing what Anthony was doing. They were seeing the manner at which their father was killing his victims. It was said he threatened them that if they ever mention to anybody what he's doing inside the house or what he has been doing to people, he was going to also do to them what he was doing to these people, meaning he was also going to strangle them to death. So because of that, the children were quiet until that fateful day where his last victim got him caught and arrested by the police. Anthony don't just kill these people. According to him, when he kills them, he gets money. It's not clear if he kills them and sells the vital parts of their body to ritualists or he just takes their accounts, withdraws money, but he said if he kills them, he equally gets money out of it. So far, Anthony said what he made or what he had realized from this whole killing was the total sum of 800,000 naira. From killing of 4 people, he realized the total sum of 800,000. Somewhere around June 2020, he had a business transaction with one Ajumiene Ofo from Aba in Abia State. Mr. Ofo was said to have supplied shoes worth 500,000 to Anthony. That fateful day, Anthony called him to say, okay, come over to my house in Port Harcourt and collect your money is ready. Ofo, before going to see Anthony, dropped Anthony's house address and phone number with his wife, saying, I'm going to recover money. This is the address and the phone number. This was a harmless address and phone number he was dropping, not knowing the address and phone number would eventually be useful in the later on. When Ofo arrived at Anthony's house, Anthony welcomed him as usual, offered him drink, gave him food, made him sit down. While he was eating the food, he went behind him, strangled and killed him as usual, dragged his body to the pit where he dumped the body. After 48 hours, the husband's number wasn't connecting. At that point, the wife became worried. She decided to report the incident to the police and gave them the address. Police started investigation immediately. They tracked the phone number and it led them to the house of Mr. Anthony. When the police got to Anthony's house, after so much interrogation, he took them to the pit where he discarded the body of his victims. Lo and behold, they discovered 3 human skulls, while one of them was still very fresh to the point that flies were said to have been hovering around it. The fresh one was the body of Mr. Ofo, who was his last victim. His children even went as far as demonstrating to the police how their father would strangle these victims and threaten them to keep quiet, that if they told anybody, he was going to also strangle and dispose them. The police exhumed their body from the septic tank and took them to the mortuary, deposited them for autopsy. It was said they equally recovered 2 pump actions, and Ndubisi was taken into custody while they were conducting further investigation to arrest more persons involved in the gang, probably his fellow ritualists or probably people he sold bodies to. The police public relations officer by the name of Nnamdi Omoni advised the general public to be very careful and promise the families of the deceased that they will try as much as possible to give justice to them. The commissioner of police by the name of Joseph Mukan condemned the whole act. According to him, every perpetrator of such heinous crime will be punished and be brought to book. They will face the law and they will get punishment for their action. So I hope Anthony Ndubisi actually got the punishment he deserved, or will get the punishment he deserved, because these people deserve justice and I hope they get one.